In the beginning of August 1944, the German 6th Parachute Regiment was fighting a desperate battle in Normandy. The Americans had achieved a major breakthrough and were bound to encircle the German army. In the unfolding disaster, the regiment got an order directly from General Kurt Student, the father of the German parachute forces and the commander of the 1st Parachute Army. The order arrived on August 10th in regimental headquarters and read that the regiment had to report in Nancy in eastern France, where the 1st Parachute Army HQ was located. It's not known why Student chose to withdraw the 6th Regiment of all German parachute units in Normandy, but it would not be the last time that he would bypass the chain of command to give direct orders to this particular regiment, as we shall see later. There was, however, enough reason to pull out the 6th. After 2 months of continuous fighting, the originally 4,600 men strong regiment had only around 40 men left. The regiment had been involved in constant combat from the day the Allies landed in Normandy and had taken horrific losses in the process. Although several hundred men were recovering from wounds and would soon rejoin the ranks, it was clear that the regiment had to be rebuilt, and for this purpose it was sent back to Germany. The German losses in the summer of 1944 were so high that the demand for trained replacements outstripped the supply by far. The 6th Parachute Regiment had to contend with young raw recruits and older airfield personnel for which there was no more use due to a lack of serviceable airplanes. All these men had to be trained from scratch and molded into a cohesive unit in a time span of just 6 weeks. On paper, the strength of the rebuilding 6th Parachute Regiment looked impressive. The regiment had 3 battalions with 4 companies each, and an additional regimental anti-tank company, a mortar company, a pioneer company, and a bicycle reconnaissance company. These 4 additional companies were brought under the command of the 4th Battalion. This battalion was however not deployed as a unit until September 24th. By that time, the companies had been converted to parachute infantry. During the transfer to the Netherlands, the regiment also picked up an anti-aircraft unit, which acted as the 17th Company. The regimental commander was Friedrich-August von der Heydte, a highly experienced and dynamic officer. Von der Heydte, a Bavarian nobleman, was already a professional officer before the war and switched to the parachute branch in the summer of 1940. He participated in the invasion of Crete, served in North Africa, Italy and on the Eastern Front, before being appointed commander of the 6th Parachute Regiment in February 1944. Under his enigmatic leadership, the regiment earned the nickname the Lions of Carentan in Normandy. In a character assessment by the German army, von der Heydte was described as a very passionate officer, for whom mobility, spirit and a distinct initiative are indicative. As a passionate officer, he demanded a lot from himself and his men, and asked them to live up to the original spirit of the German paratroopers, the Fallschirmjäger. From the moment he enlists in the Fallschirmjäger and joins my regiment, every soldier enters the new order of humanity and gives up everything he possessed before and which is outside the new order. There is only one law for him henceforth, the law of our unit. This instillment of the belonging to an elite unit was necessary, because besides the guidance of the few veterans, the fresh Fallschirmjäger had to rely on their fighting spirit. Even the aforementioned tight training schedule of just several weeks was cut short by the necessity of troops at the front. On September 3, 1944, the British entered Brussels, and 1 day later Antwerp was liberated. These events triggered a crisis in the German camp. As a result, General Kurt Student was requested to muster Germany's last reserves at hand to form a new front along the Albert Canal in northern Belgium with his 1st Parachute Army. Student called up all available Fallschirmjäger units, including training units and units in the process of rebuilding, like the 6th Parachute Regiment. It would be a race against time. Would the German Fallschirmjäger arrive on time to stop the British tanks at Albert Canal?